Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video podcast brought to you by Lutuan and myself, your host Loic. Today, we're zeroing in on pivotal challenges in the modern workplace, tech fatigue, with a special focus on engaging Generation Z. As digital tools become increasingly integral to our professional lives, we encounter the double-edged sword of technostress. This stress, born from the relentless pace of technology, not only challenges our productivity, but also our mental well being. In this era of constant connectivity, understanding and navigating the complexity of technostress becomes crucial, something where Lutu One steps in, embodying the bridge between technology's potential and the human element of our workplace. Let's dive into Technostress impact on employee engagement. And to do so, I'm really happy to have Alexandra, our special guest of today. First of all, thank you very much for joining us on this video podcast. It's really a pleasure to have you, also to have had the chance of speaking with you in the past, which brought us to this video podcast. But to our audience who probably don't know you yet, but I hope they will definitely check out your profile link and then reach out if any questions. If I can ask for a short introduction from your side, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, totally. Hi there. My name is Alexandra Bowman, and I'm a program manager for HR operations at Avalara. I'm based in Seattle for the past 7 years after graduating with a degree in marketing from Philadelphia University, now a part of Thomas Jefferson University, where I found a passion for corporate sustainability. I've held a variety of different positions in digital marketing, and after the pandemic, I had made a pivot over into HR. I'm certified by the University of Oxford in leading sustainable corporations, and I'm a certified system administrator in ServiceNow. So I'm a little bit of a Renaissance woman.
That's lovely, and I love how there's a very deep type of background story you have behind it. But
There's a
to
lot
set the
going on.
stage, yeah, I've seen that. But to set the stages, we do have four key pillars we want to be able to combine with our very overall type of approach and looking more in depth to really understand the technostress behind it and the impact it has on employee engagement. Which brings me to the first question, Alexandra, in your view, how is technology shaping the current workplace landscape in terms of employee engagement?
So I feel like companies are really focused on engagement, but there's not really a one size fits all approach. And in my mind, engagement really is a combination of interpersonal connection and feeling that your job is important. And the remote working revolution during the global pandemic kind of has leaders really leaning on tech to keep their employees engaged because we've moved out of offices and we've been kind of siloed into our remote locations. So some leaders are trying to kind of solve this by forcing employees to come back to the office, but that's a podcast for another day. I think the digital solutions that a lot of leaders have been leaning on, though, are different kinds of Slack groups, like daily shares and like question of the day kind of things in Slack with your teams. Virtual happy hours and events on Zoom, and there's a lot of like companies that have really popped up doing these digital events and whatnot, and kudo boards, and it's all really, really quite tech focused to try to make your employees feel engaged. But I think the problem really is that employees are already burnt out by how many programs that they need to use to just accomplish one task, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's getting to the point where, and I know that there's all kinds of funny memes online of like people are being haunted by the sound of like their Slack or Teams going off. So
I've seen it.
it's
Yeah, I
difficult.
completely agree.
Yeah.
To be fair, I kind of missed. I'm pretty sure if we sent out a feedback request to most employees about bringing back the happy hour on Zoom, I don't think many people would be against it. It was quite fun during the pandemic, that aspect, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But in all
Yeah.
seriousness, because that could be a podcast in itself, let's zoom in a bit on the techno stress in itself, because it is definitely a serious problem, as you mentioned in the correct way, is becoming one of source of burnout in terms of the noise of teams. I've seen those memes as well. It's funny, but it's quite scary. So kind of brings me to the question, as we narrow our focus, could you elaborate on the concept of technostress and its tangible impact on employee well-being and engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. So with a lot of focus on productivity and reducing the amount of effort it takes for employees to do their jobs, I feel like businesses are kind of missing the most centric part, which is making the job, like making it easy and one-stop shop kind
Mhm.
of thing, right? So, for example, let's say you are a recruiting coordinator working at a company who just hasn't brought on a platform that can truly do it all, right? So, in order to get a group of interviews scheduled, you might have to create a survey in one program that requests preferred times from candidates. Then you have to go into the talent management platform to get candidate contact info to then put into an Excel spreadsheet so you can send a mail merge from Microsoft Word and
Wow.
then export all of that data into an Excel, use a VLOOKUP, and then go to Outlook calendar to take a look at your interviewer scheduled so that you can go back into the original talent management tool to accomplish one task. So that's 5 different programs just to accomplish one part of your job. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
you're
lot.
definitely and you're definitely not the only one out there with those kind of issues, if we may raise on that one. It's definitely and in itself, it's also understanding the expectation because of course expectation from our employees have grown, and now with Gen Z who's coming out of after the COVID era have quite a different type of expectation, at least from what we've seen online on LinkedIn and so on, which I'm sure you've also seen the thousands of articles. I've even had someone we were going to ask on the podcast who's written a book about Gen Z. So we're definitely, there's definitely a new like line that's drawn in regards to that. But regarding the question on that one, with the arrival of Gen Z into the workforce, how do their expectation and approach to work challenge existing framework for employee engagement?
So I think, first of all, Gen Z is the largest generation in history so far. And according to a Deloitte study, about 53% of adults from 18 to 40, so Gen Z and millennials, are trying to limit the amount of time that they're spending on their devices. Um, I would say that Gen Z and millennials have really similar values that they bring to work in terms of work life balance, pay equity, needing to feel a purpose in the work that they do. But I would say that the big difference with Gen Z is that they're really prioritizing their mental health over everything else because a lot of them came of age during a global pandemic and recession for a lot of them it was their first recession that they've been through, unlike millennials where we've got a couple under our belt now. So I would say that like these values, learning from their millennial counterparts, being chronically online and seeing other stories of people being treated poorly by their companies really means that Gen Z can see through and call companies out on their performative solutions on both engaging and retaining employees. They're really reverting back to more like analog solutions that they seem to embrace a lot less more tech. So
That's interesting.
we, yeah,
That's really wasn't expecting that one, but go on.
yeah, no, it's interesting. Why are vinyl sales going up, right?
Yeah,
Why are
true,
digital
true, true.
cameras coming back? It's a little crazy. But I would say that like the whole like needing to work out of 5 different platforms to accomplish one task, like they're just trying to limit their screen time. Like they're not going to want to get on Zoom for another hour to like
Yeah.
spend time with coworkers after they've already been glued to their laptop for 8 hours today. um so after like the overblown media cycle around quiet quitting, I feel like everybody else is starting to really tune into like what millennials have been trying to say and what Gen Z isn't afraid to, which is that if the company cares about us as people, we will be engaged in our work. We just need to know that they care.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I like it. It's a very good answer. Very good answer. No, thanks for sharing the input of Deloitte's. I was wondering if we had some data as well from your side. So even better, we've got statistics. But
Yep,
in
backing
regards
it
to the
up.
last question, I love it. In regards to the last question, which is in regards to measuring and mitigating technostress, because let's be honest, it's great to know that the issue is there, but most importantly is being able to measure it to avoid future issues, if we may say. Well, if we may say, they will become issues if they are not resolved or identified in advance. Which brings me to a question towards you in regards to focusing on solution. What methods or metrics do you recommend for measuring the impact of technostress on employee engagement?
I would say that a way to really just kind of like it's difficult to measure with metrics the impact
Mhm.
of tech stress, because either way, a lot of companies are really just focusing on those productivity numbers. A lot are tracking your movements on your computer, which is slightly dystopian. But
Mhm.
it's, I think that like the main focus of really trying to limit techno stress and like tech fatigue is just shifting your focus on finding programs and platforms that can fulfill as many facets of a role or function or organization as possible. Because I feel like for a while there was just a lot of new programs that, okay, now this one takes care of this and now this one takes care of that. And it at first was really just a matter of onboarding different programs and platforms to take care of specific needs that that platform takes care of. Whereas now there's a lot more platforms coming out that really take those multiple needs into consideration and really fulfill more of like a whole function of like a whole organization or a
Mhm.
whole team. So for example, I've been building out HR functions in ServiceNow for Avalara, and every day I feel like I've been learning a new way that that platform can make somebody's life easier in my organization. It takes away a lot of the manual nature of work and automating what people do while also reducing the number of platforms that they need to do to get the job done, which is crazy. I mean, benefits, payroll, compensation, um, operations, like talent acquisition, a lot of different functions being able to get their work done in one platform is amazing. But so that's one part of really just at least limiting and reducing tech stress is just find something that does it all for as many things as possible, right? But then on the employee engagement side, I would say that rethinking how you show your employees how they're valued is going to be really important. It's more of like a put your money where your mouth is kind of thing.
Mhm.
I recently saw a video where uh, someone's company had sent out an email for Employee Appreciation Day, and that was they're like, our gift to you is telling you that we appreciate you, and that's just it's not it's not
Yes.
like that's really nice, thank you, but and so a lot of younger generations are really demanding a better quality of life that's provided through work. So showing that you care about who they are as people by putting them ahead of something like, I don't know, executive bonus and payout salaries because CEO pay has increased more than 1,200% since the 70s. Um,
Ooh.
by taking those savings, right?
Yeah.
Taking those savings and putting it towards good health care, unlimited vacation days. Because one thing about the US versus the EU and the UK, the vacation is not, y'all are on holiday all
It's a
the
different
time and it's
aspect.
amazing and I'm very jealous. So unlimited vacation days, 401k match, because these generations are living longer. Millennials and Gen Z are expected to live way closer to 100 than our predecessors were. Paternity leave that's more than 3 months. You know, like these are all really good places to start to show. Like I would say bare minimum, lowest bar. That's what companies should be trying to provide to keep employees engaged, but like, or at least keep them happy to be there. But the real engagement piece, I would say, because that's more benefits, right? The actually keeping employees engaged is providing opportunities like upskilling and training in areas that they're interested in, or also very clearly defining internal advancement structure, because people want to be good at what they do and excel in areas that they're interested in. So give them a chance to shine. Simply put, employees are engaged when they feel that they're taken care of.
On that said, thank you so very much, Alexandra. Thank you very much to Ludo One. But thank you very much to our audience. We hope you've enjoyed this video podcast as much as we both did making it. And take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.